Hi, this is Evan from GoodBuy Comics. Today we are going to be doing a modern CGC unboxing that just came back. This was shipped on November 16th, 2022. CGC received it December 1st and they shipped it back December 7th. So the biggest takeaway from that is that they don't get to unboxing for a little while, but these are modern books. I did not have to fast track them. Once they were in their hands, they turned them around quite quick. That can be fantastic for resellers. It can also be a little bit daunting because, that means they're sort of rushing through this. They're not looking as closely as they can. They hired a lot of new graders recently, but I think things have sort of turned around and they are being more consistent as compared to where they were maybe 3 to 6 months ago or even a year ago. So what I always do is I take photos of everything that I'm submitting. I give grades of an estimate of where I think it's going to be. I typically try to make it where it's a 0.2 to 0.4 difference of where I think it's going to land. And then I compare it to what comes back. It's really important to do that because that's going to give you a gauge of what the value of the book is and whether it's worth spending the money to get it graded or if it's better just to resell it as raw. There's going to be some disappointments in here, as there always is. Unforeseen issues that either the pressing regressed, so meaning, I'm in New Jersey, it's going to Florida, it has to go through multiple hands, there's humidity issues, storage issues, shipping it back here. A lot of things can happen. Or just the fact that, I missed something, and that happens. But there are a couple nice surprises in here as well. Overall, I think I was pretty consistent. This is the first of two, there was 45 books, so this will be the first 25. I'll split it into 2 videos. And there's some really great modern books in here. They're not, most of them are bronze and copper, but there are some relatively new modern ones. So this first one, I will tell you that I also noticed that they switched, this is a long box worth, they switched their bags, and these hopefully are a little bit, they're thicker, so the slabs will be a little less prone to scratches, but who knows? I already see sort of a scratch on this first one here. Fantastic. So the first book is Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars 8. This is the first black suit Spidey, which ties for Marvel Team Up 141, and also, what am I missing there? It's, Amazing Spider-Man 252. This is an iconic book. Secret Wars is supposedly going to have its own movie. It's going to be, the price has already popped on this, but they'll come back up. Just a great book to have in your collection. I had this actually coming back as a 9.6 to 9.8. Now, let's see where we ended up here. We ended up at a 9.2 white pages. I'm happy with that, but that's a big price difference of where I was hoping to be. 9.6 to 9.8 is $350 to $700. A 9.2 is $250. Now, I do see a little tiny crunch right there. It's very small. I don't know if that was there. I'm going to go back and look at the photos that I took before I shipped them off. I mean, honestly, it's a moot point because they're here. It's done. It's not like I can point a finger at anybody. So this is not a great win, but for, if I can cash out $250, I guarantee that I paid less for it. So that's the first book. Second book, along the same lines, another fantastic one, a blue chip comic book that everybody should have in their collection, ASM 300. This is a direct issue. It's not a newsstand. I had this at a 8 and 8.5. I came in just short of that at a 7.5. It's white pages. It's a really nice. So this is a direct issue. The barcode would be a newsstand. This book always holds value. Anybody that's getting into collecting has to have this in their collection. This is the first full appearance of Venom, and it's just a modern day grail. And pricing on that would have been $450 to $500. A 7.5 actually comes in around $450 anyway, so not a huge loss, and I'm happy with that. Next book. This is a major, not even really a spec book. I suppose it could be looked at as a spec book, but it is a big X-Men book. Major villain that has humongous potential in the MCU and beyond. That's Mr. Sinister, X-Men 221. It's a newsstand edition. So for those submitting newsstand books, most of the CGC submission form has the big keys as a newsstand selection. Not all of them are like that. That way the prices get separated out when on their census and what their data distributes outside of that. I did not put this in as a newsstand because it wasn't an option, but luckily they did notate it, and I guess it's in their system now. So this came back, let's see, what did I have this as? I had this as a 9.4 to 9.6, and it came back to a 9.4. So right on par. This is worth about $180, $200 at this point right now. First Mr. Sinister. Always liked that book. I've sold many of them. All right, next two are, should be next two. What happened to it? There it is. Okay, next two. We have another modern day key. Grail Wolverine Limited Series number 1. I had this is a direct issue. I had this coming back as a 9.4 to 9.6. It ended up coming back a 9.2. Now, this is Frank Miller, famous artwork, Chris Claremont, art and style, Joe Rubenstein, cover and art. This is the first solo Wolverine. Beautiful, awesome. Anybody that was born in the 80s or collecting in the 80s knows this book. They want this book. There was 4 issues in the limited series. After that, it goes to the regular edition. The regular ones with Patch on it. He's on the mound there. It's all black. This one is just so vibrant and 9.2. These books are so easy to sell. They're great to keep in your collection. A 9.2 regular direct is about $150. So I'll take that all day. It's not a major profit, but at the same time, I can sell it in 2 seconds because everybody wants it. I also had another one that I thought was going to be a 9.2 to 9.4. And this was a newsstand. There was definitely an option for a newsstand on this book. And this came back 9.2 as well. So I was right on point there. And again, it's the same grade as the other one. It's a newsstand. It should be, I have it marked as 150. It should be worth more than that. But yeah, great books. Everybody loves Wolverine. Okay, next one is, now this one is for my personal collection. This is a really rare book. This is from the 90s. Actually, this is from 1987, but a big character in the 90s. This is Zen Intergalactic Ninja. I had this coming back as 7.5 to 8.5. I had a 1-point range there. Now, I don't know how many of you even know about Zen or know about this book. This is the first appearance of Zen. Zen was a big independent character in the 90s. I mean, this came out in 87, but he had a long run on Archie comics. He even had a video game for Nintendo and Nintendo Game Boy, and a little cult following. I like these 90s independent books. They are some of my favorites. You can see I have Invincible up there, and Crow, and what else do I got there? Razor and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Evil Ernie, Grendel, that's the primer up there. So anyway, this is a 8.0. And I'm right in between, right on par. It's about a $200 book. 9/8 of this are pretty much non-existent. The biggest issue with almost all of them is that they have rusted staples on the inside. The staples they used were just not correct. So they grade accordingly, but an 8.0 is a great book. There's lots of these for sale on eBay, not a lot of sales. It's a really rare book, but I'm just happy to have it in my collection, and I didn't pay much for it. Next up is a 70s ASM. This is ASM 142. I had this at a 9.0 to a 9.2. It ended up coming back a 9.2 white pages. This is with Mysterio, and it looks like maybe some of the Sinister Six. It has a date stamp on there, which is fine. But it's got the Evil Ernie ad on the back of it. Evil Knievel ad on the back of it. It's just a beautiful book, high grade, ASM from the 70s. Really another easy sell. Not super valuable, maybe $150 in that range. We'll see how much I can get out of it. Okay, here is a book that popped about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. We know that the Thunderbolts are coming. General Thunderbolt Ross is going to be played by whatever his name is, Indiana Jones. Sorry, trying to blank. This is Hulk 449, the first appearance of the Thunderbolts. This is not Thunderbolts 1, it's Hulk 449. There's plenty of them out there, but it's a nice little key. I had this at a 9.2 to 9.4. Harrison Ford was the name I was thinking of. 9.2 to 9.4, and this came back a 9.4. So I'm doing pretty good so far. I have a couple that I was slightly off on, but overall accuracy is not bad. Okay. Next book, we have Web of Spider-Man 118. This is the first clone story, Ben Reilly. This book has really popped in the past 3 to 6 months. Now, this book does have, this is 118 Web of Spider-Man. This is definitively the biggest book in the series. Behind this would be Web of Spider-Man 1 with that beautiful black suit cover. There's not a lot of key issues in Web of Spider-Man, a few here and there. This is definitely the biggest of them. Inside is an insert, and I don't remember what it's for, just a mail away or something, or a subscription card. That causes issues sometimes. I had this coming back as a 9 to 9.2, and maybe I overjudged, or maybe I just got not what I wanted out of it, but it came back a 7.5. So this is going to be a money loss. The notes on this are light bends to cover, light spine stress lines to cover, and light staining to cover. So the staining to cover, I'll be honest, I don't know what they are talking about. I mean, there's a tiny little dot right there. Staining, God, I don't know. I don't even know. I'll have to look much, much closer. This is a wah-wah. And a 7.5, somebody will want it anyway. It's a big key issue. I was probably only looking at it being worth about 100 to 120. It's worth about 75 like this. Maybe somebody will crack it and press it and give it another whirl, or it's just a cheap investment for a big key issue. Okay, now this one, I am very disappointed. The grade's not bad, but I was 100% sure this was a 9.8 or a 9.9, so I'm not really sure what happened here. This book was as beautiful as it could come. This is Hulk 330. For those of you who don't know what this is Todd McFarlane's first issue on the Hulk. And you could see, it doesn't really look like Todd artwork, but you could see it in the face there. It kind of looks like that Peter Parker, right? So this is a nice little key issue, something that people sleep on. Most people are interested in some of the other issues that are more iconic Todd McFarlane artwork. But this is a great book to have. I actually have one that's signed of this. And I thought this was coming back a 9.6 to 9.8. Honestly, I was guaranteeing a 9.8. Came back a 9.4. There's no notes on it. I can't imagine what they're seeing that I didn't see. I do see a couple little bends there. So, is that my packaging? Is that them taking it out of there? It's very minor, and I don't think that they were there they were definitely not there when I sent this off. So that's a disappointment. They're rushing through millions of books there at CGC, and I don't know the exact process, but I wish that they were a little bit safer with the books. This next one has been a very popular character recently. This is Spider-Punk. This is Edge of Spider-Geddon #1, and this is a variant issue. This is not a major key or anything like that. Raw, it's probably a $20, $30 book, but it's just very cool. I thought this was going to get a 9.8, but I always put a 9.6 to 9.8. It got a 9.6. It's worth about $75. So for, if I could have got 25, 30 Raw, and I spent whatever it was, $20 getting it graded, that's $50 if I get 75. So I made a little bit of money on that, assuming that I sell it for that. Here's a nice relevant book coming up. We already know that Armor Wars are coming. War Machine is a big Iron Man character. It's hopefully going to be an amazing show. This is a book that popped a year or two ago with the announcements. I was thinking that this was going to be a 9.4 to 9.6. Came back a 9.4 white pages. This is Iron Man 282. Again, these are all just really easy books to sell. I chose books that, pretty much everybody wants in their collection, even if they have one, books that people are willing to buy multiple of. So not a huge investment on my part. not a huge investment on the collector who's going to buy them. Another book that completely just skyrocketed and has come back down to earth, but I think this one has a lot of potential. That's Daredevil Volume 2, number 9. This is the first Echo. Now, Echo, you know, I think Echo is just, it was in the Hawkeye series. Echo replaced Ronin in the comics, and is supposedly going to be getting her own show. I think this book, you know, even at 9.8, this was like over $1,000 at one point. It's nowhere near that now. I had this coming back as a, where am I? 9.2 to 9.4. It came back in 9.4. Goes for about $120. Great cover. This is Caseta and Jimmy Palmiotti artwork. Oh, no, David Mack's story and cover. No, so the cover is by David Mack, sorry. But yeah, I think this is a great book that just really went down in value because it skyrocketed at Hawkeye. But once Echo gets the show, and assuming that it's a good show, it's going to go right back up. This is a nice little, you know, this is not for everybody, but I feel like this is a sleeper and could be a nice spec book. This is Amazing Fantasy 7. This is the first appearance of Camilla Black, which is Scorpion. This I had at a, where am I? Oh, I jumped around here. Hang on one second. Amazing Fantasy. Okay, I had this as a 9.6 to 9.8. It came back in 9.6. And 9.6 is around $100. A 9.8 would have been $300, so I slightly missed the mark. Nice book, though. That might be a little bit harder to sell. Here is for anybody that is a big Todd McFarlane fan, which there are millions of. Now, this is, I guarantee that probably anybody watching this has never even heard of this book before. This is called Total Eclipse. It's a Todd McFarlane cover. And I was hoping that this was going to get a 9.6 to 9.8. Again, this is another wah-wah. Got a 9.2. I'm not really too sure why. Just quickly looking at it, I don't see anything that would warrant that. I'll have to look closer. But, you know, I'm probably going to end up getting around $50 to $75 for it. Still, a nice, unique Todd McFarlane book. Here's another McFarlane one that is much more rare and has a little cult following. On top of that, it's a McFarlane variant. This is The Crow, number 1. The Crow was rebooted by Image Comics. This is the McFarlane one. It's pretty cool. It's very beautiful. Sorry for the glare. This can be quite expensive in a 9.8. This ended up getting, I was thinking this was going to get a 9.0 to 9.2, and this is a positive note. I got a 9.4. Not super expensive at 9.4, but it's still, it's the rarity. It's going to be an easy sell. People love Todd. It's a cool cover. It's a variant. I also have a signed one of this that I have to get verified. Okay, here is a nice win, actually. This is probably the biggest book of the order. This is Star Wars Clone Wars, and I thought this was going to come back a 9 or a 9.2. This ended up coming back a 9.4, right? So this is the first appearance of Ahsoka Tano, Captain Rex in comics. This is a rare book. This is not the one in 1,000 version, but it's quite expensive. A 9.8 can be thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm more than happy with the 9.4. I actually ended up purchasing the whole run from somebody, so I have this along with the other raw ones to sell. But this is a $1,000 book, and trust me, I did not pay $1,000 for the set. This is a unique one and a rare one. Transformers coming out with a new movie. This is probably something that most people have never seen, never heard of. I was not familiar with it, but I kind of figured that it was just a cool one. This is from Transformers BotCon 2001, a book that was handed out there. It's a complete comic book inside. I thought this was going to get a 9.2 to 9.4 and ended up getting a 9.0. There's really like none of these out there. I can kind of set the price at least $100, if not much more. This is the Wreckers number 1. Pretty cool book. It's got an all black cover. I'm happy with a 9. This I have a couple books of, and this is slightly lower than my other ones, but this is Spider-Gwen 1. This is the GameStop variant. They only made 3,000 of these. I thought this was going to get a 9.6 to a 9.8. Ended up coming back a 9.4. I don't think it's going to be a hard sell regardless. Spider-Gwen, Silk, all the female Spidey characters are pretty easy to sell. It just depends on how much I can get out of it, but I figure at least $100. Okay, here's another big one. Now this one I did not even realize what I had because it was in a black bag, and I bought it in a collection. Didn't realize what was in the black bag until I looked a little bit closer when I had some time. This is Age of Ultron. This is the first Angela that came to the MCU and ends up becoming Thor's sister. This is after Angela was in Spawn #9, and there was some issues of who owned it. It ended up becoming Marvel property at the end of the day. This I thought was going to be a 9.6 to a 9.8. Ended up coming back a 9.8. Now, this is the variant cover. I believe this was a 1 in 50 or something like that. There was a poly bag that came along with it. It's a beautiful book, really cool cover. It's at least $500. Okay, next one. I don't think most of you or any of you have ever seen this book. Now, this is Savage Dragon 193. What's unique about this is that a few things. One, it's an Eric Larson and McFarlane cover. Number two, it's a 1 in 5 variant. Number three, they only made, at this point in the Savage Dragon run, they're only producing like 5,000, 6,000 of it or something like that. Maybe even 3,000. I got to look up the stats on it. But anyway, this is a 1 in 5, which means that there was probably under 1,000 of it made. There's one sale that I've found for a raw copy of it from England that sold for $230. I thought this was going to come back in 9.6 to 9.8. It came back in 9.8. And to the right buyer, this is, I don't even really know, at least $500, maybe $750, $1,000. I have to decide what I think is the appropriate value on it. But I'll take my time on that to find the right huge Savage Dragon fan. First appearance of Savage Dragon is in Megaton 3 when he was just the dragon. Okay, we have some cool ones here. Haunt is a comic book created by McFarlane and Kirkman. A lot of the illustrations are done by Capullo and Otley. Let's see. So this is the Capullo variant of #1. I have a whole bunch of raw ones of these, but there's a lot of variants. It's just a cool idea. Haunt is sort of this like Spider-Man / Spawn character. And it's got a little cult following. There was not a lot of them produced. I thought this was going to come back a 9.6 to a 9.8 and ended up coming back a 9.8. This is probably in the $300 range. The next one, which is basically the same, but the sketch variant I thought was exactly the same, 9.6 to 9.8. This came back a 9.6. I think the sketch variant might have been a 1 in 25 of the other variant or something like that. So in theory, it's probably, even though it's a 9.6, it's probably around the same value. Last two books. Okay, we have another Haunt. This is Haunt 16. So there's a convention called the Phoenix Comic-Con. There's a few books. There's a really expensive Star Wars one, if you're not familiar with it. I'm drawing a blank on which one it was, Rebellion or something. This is from 2011, Phoenix Comic-Con. I thought it was going to come back in 9.4 to 9.6, and ended up coming back in 9.6. It's worth about $300. I believe they only made, I think it says on here, I think they only made 1,000 of these. Where am I? Convention, 1 of 1,000, yeah. Cool cover. McFarlane art, can't go wrong. And one more McFarlane art here. I bought a collection from a major McFarlane fan, so a lot of the stuff is McFarlane. This is Image United #2. This is the sketch variant. I had hoped that this was going to be a 9.6 to a 9.8. It ended up coming back a 9.6. Beautiful looking cover. And actually, no, sorry, I thought this was a 9.4 to 9.6, and it's worth about $300. Really, really cool. Humongous amount of Spawn fans out there and McFarlane fans, and it's rare. It just hits everything that it's supposed to hit. So overall, very happy, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I will be doing part 2 with the other 20 books that are coming in. Please give the channel a follow, subscribe. I'm on Whatnot for GoodBuy_comics. Website is www.goodbuycomics.com. Thank you very much. Have a great day.